Some of you may have heard this, but it became really important to me this week. It's a little story, kind of a joke, if you will. A man had crashed his boat and it sunk, and he was swimming and trying to get back to shore and found a buoy, and he was just hanging on. Shore was way too far off. There's no way he's going to make it on time, to save his life. So he was just kind of stuck there. And he's hanging there, and he's going, I know God's going to save me. I know God's going to save me. No doubt God's going to save me. And this guy comes by in a little kayak. Hop on, man, I'll get you back over there. No, God's going to save me. So a little while later, a guy comes by. He's got his wife and another couple with him, and they're in a speedboat, and they're tooling around out in the water, and they swing by. Here, hop on. Let's get you back over there. We'll take care of you. No, God's going to save me. God's going to save me. So they go on about their business, and a little while later, this little cruise boat comes by. It's full of people, and they're all going, come on. God's going to save me. God's going to save me. And then this big giant cruise ship comes over, and the guy's going, here, I'm going to throw the life vest out there. Just grab hold of it. We'll come get you. God's going to save me. Don't worry. A little while later, he's going, God, why haven't you saved me? And God said, I sent all those boats by. That was kind of what happened to me this week. We're talking about, or thinking about what I was going to talk about today. I had some beautiful plans at the beginning of the week, and started working on those, and then I got busy doing something else, and then another idea came to mind. I got to working on that, and then another idea, and I kept thinking, the right thing's going to come to me, Well, Friday I went down to College Station, spent the night there, and then yesterday morning did a team development program with a client, and one of the things that I do with them is I start the day off with what's called a full value contract. And this full value contract is a way to get everybody on the same page, make it safe so that ideas can flow freely, and it just allows the group to really move forward, and gives us, gives me as a facilitator the opportunity to step in when I see something that's kind of out of line. And that full value contract is pretty cool, and I'm going to tell you more about that a little bit later. So anyway, I get in the car to leave to come back home. And the 3.5-hour drive, full value contract keeps popping in my mind. And I'm going, I need to be focusing in on what I'm going to talk about tomorrow. I've got less than 24 hours to figure this out. And so I'd get to thinking about something else. Cultivate was one of the things that came to me. I was thinking about how to cultivate a spiritual practice in your life. And that was really going good. And about 15 minutes into that, full value contract. God, I know I'm going to just push it. I'm going to think about that a little later. We're going to figure out what what I'm supposed to do with that here in a little bit, and I need to get back on track. So I start thinking I'm on something else. Full value contract, and it's getting louder and louder. In my head, we're having an argument. God and I are going back and forth. I told you I don't need that right now. I'm going to get to it later. Right now I need to be thinking about this. Back and here it comes again. This literally went on for a 3.5-hour drive, plus the 1 hour that I sat on the 75 going because of a wreck, or a tractor trailer dumped his load. 4.5 hours I sit there, and this is a battle. And finally, I got tired. It wasn't God gave up. I got tired, and I said, okay, so what about it? Well, between Plano, which is where the traffic finally freed up, to Van Alstyne, it clicked. I'm supposed to be talking to you guys about the full value contract today. Amazing, isn't it? So it does, and that in itself was a huge lesson. Was just to shut up my own thinking and listen. Now, part of the full value contract is to fully value yourself and others. That's actually the second step. We're going to talk about that first, because I was not valuing God. I was not valuing myself and my ability to tune in to what God was telling me. I was totally devaluing that whole situation. Okay? Valuing yourself and others is huge. It's very big. We're going to skip back to number 1 now, and then I'll talk to you about valuing, because number 1 has to be in place first. The first part, this is a 4-step process. The first part of the full value contract is keep yourself and others safe. somewhere, I don't remember exactly where it was, I've read, do no harm. That's keep yourself and others safe. Now this is physically, this is emotionally, every way that you can imagine. If we're walking from here back over to the community center, and there's a hole out there because I got a little crazy on the mower and spun the tires, which I had to fix one this morning, there may be another one. Don't step in it. That's how you keep yourself safe physically. Be aware of your surroundings. Be aware of what's going on. It doesn't mean to go through life scared. It doesn't mean to let fear rule every step you take. It means to be aware and open to what's happening around you. And then take steps to miss out on the opportunities to hurt yourself. So if you see a pothole out here, go around it. And then keep your buddies safe by saying, hey, watch out. Okay, step around this. There's a hole here. Okay, we're in Texas. Fire ant beds. If you go through the yard, watch it. You know, they're starting to move around a little bit now that the weather's changing. So be aware if you walk through the yard. Okay, if you do that new earthing thing, well, it's not really new, but if you do what I found recently called earthing, and you're walking barefoot, be careful where you step. And then if you have a buddy with you, warn them when you see stuff. So physically, keep yourself and others safe. Okay? Emotionally, keep yourself and others safe. If somebody says something to you, you don't lash out. That's how you keep them safe emotionally. Allow them the space to speak. And allow yourself the space to speak. Okay? Now, the emotional part of safety and the full value part of it, they're very similar because valuing yourself and others is very important. People think I'm crazy when I can say I can tell whether you're giving yourself value or you're taking value away. And I can. Because when you're sitting there and we're talking about things, I can tell when each and every one of you guys have a thought, an idea. Now, when we're in those team development programs, they have an opportunity to spit that idea out. They get to talk about it. I can tell when they devalue themselves by not when they don't do it, when they stay quiet. The way you're devaluing yourself when you do not share your ideas is something inside of you is saying, that's not good enough. They'll never agree with that. They'll never like it. They'll never use it. We're very good at beating ourselves up on that kind of stuff. You know, what value do I have to offer is what we're saying to ourselves. We speak up. We talk about our ideas. Think about for a moment what it would have been like had Jesus Christ not valued himself. Where would all of the incredible ideas be? The incredible thoughts that he shared in his lifetime that we now understand to be that Christ-mindedness that we all strive to live by. Where would those thoughts be? It's the same with Buddha, the same with all of the great spiritual teachers. What would life be like had they not valued themselves enough to speak their opinions and their thoughts? As we talked about in the meditation this morning, you too are connected to that same great, pure wisdom. Your thoughts matter. Your opinions matter. Speak them. Share them. You value others by making it safe for them to do the same. You value others by listening to them. We talked about one other time the love model in communications. Listen openly, value equally. Okay? Listen openly, validate equally. That is how you listen to people. That's how you value what they have to say. Listen to what they say, validate that you heard it, validate that you understand it. Doesn't mean that you have to go do exactly what they just said. No. What we find in these team development programs is an idea will come out And when they're listening openly and they're validating equally, it's like, I understand that. That's a really nice idea. What would happen if we added this to it? What would happen if we added this to it? And then all of a sudden, an impossible challenge that I've presented to them becomes a doable, easy process. One of the activities that I do started out, it took them 20 minutes to do it the first time. And they were thinking it was impossible the whole time. When they stopped, they started listening, they started working together, it became a 1 minute and 15 second process. That was yesterday. I've had other groups that do it in different times, faster. So when we validate, when we value others, we not only increase their life value, we increase our own, because we get to learn something. We get to add to ourselves. Christ did the same thing. He didn't tell his disciples, this is how you're going to do it, and this is the only way you can do it, He basically gave them guidelines and then told them, go do it. And then before he left this earth, if you go along with the Bible things, before he left, he said, as I have done, you too can do, and more. He valued everybody that he came in contact with. He valued everybody on this earth. That's within us, folks. We too can do that. When we refuse to value ourselves, and when we refuse to value someone else, we are taking a deduction from a self-esteem account. So, for this group, I'm going to introduce you guys to something I do with my teams, because you are my team, you are part of my family, you're part of my community, so we're going to go ahead and introduce this. It's called a twofer. Now, I don't see it very often with this group. With teams, I usually do see it more often. But a twofer, T-W-O-F-E-R, twofer. It's not a real word. That's why people, what? A twofer is, if I hear someone devalue themselves or someone else, they get to give a twofer. So I'm gonna pick two people out of the blue here. So, Jill, if you devalued Gloria, I would ask you to give Gloria a twofer. What that is you're going to have two empowering statements about Gloria. Okay, what that does, the first one brings that self-esteem account back up to where it started, and the second one takes it higher. Okay, if I catch you doing a devaluing comment or action to yourself, I will ask you to give yourself a twofer. It's fun. It really is. The first time it's a little embarrassing, but it can be fun. Now guess what? You all have the same power. You can, if you see that, call for a twofer. If you feel yourself going, I can't do that, give yourself a twofer. We are fully capable of doing anything that we need to do on this earth and more. And so is everybody else sitting in this room and everybody else we run into out there. So fully value yourself and others. The third part of this full value contract is give 100%. Now the cool thing about 100% is everybody's is different. Mine is different from everybody in this room. The environment that we're in is going to make it different than what we were in yesterday. If yesterday I was in College Station, the room that I was in had, I told Madeline this morning I could have set up a pup tent out here in the median strip of 75, and it would have been quieter than the room that I was in. I happened to get a room right at the corner of where all of the drag races start. College Station has a whole lot of really loud trucks. Loud. I mean, it's a competition to see how loud they can get them. Well, that was where they peeled out for their races, going one way and also this way. We were right in the corner, and I had them going down both sides. So needless to say, yesterday morning, my 100% was a lot less than it is this morning. Okay? Now, you can beat that. You can rise up out of that if you choose to, if you focus it, if you reconnect with your essence. You can beat that, but the point is your 100% changes, so do not judge yourself. because today I'm not doing as much as I did yesterday. That's not what this is about. Each day you give exactly what you can give. We hear all of those athletes saying, "Oh, I gave 110% in the game." No, you didn't. There's only 100. You can't go more than that. It's the same with life. We can only give 100%. Now, our 100%, we forget, is connected with God. God is within us. The Father and I are one. That raises your 100% beyond limits. So part of your 100% is being aware of God in you. Be aware that you are capable of anything, that you are perfectly unlimited. Now, because our 100% is different than everyone else as well, we don't judge. We cannot look at someone else and say, "You're not giving 100% in this." We can't do that because we don't know what's going on in their life. We don't know what's going on in their mind, in their heart. Even if they were to sit down and tell us step by step by step what's going on, we don't fully understand their exact feelings. So we don't judge. We give our 100% as we know it at that time. They do the same. And then the last part of the full value contract is challenge by choice. What? How does that have anything to do with us today? Life presents challenges. Fact. We leave here today, something is going to happen that's going to challenge us. It might be very insignificant. It may be huge. Life presents challenges. Jill's daughter-in-law was back in the hospital after giving birth. That's a challenge for Jill, it's for the daughter-in-law, for the baby, for everybody in the family. It's a challenge. Now, that challenge is different for each one of you. Okay? But it is a challenge. Our choice is not whether to accept that or not. We really can't just turn our back on it. You could have chosen not to go and not support and not all that, but you still had that challenge in your life. So you can't really choose not to have it, but you do get to choose how you participate in it. You can let it bring you down. You can let it make you angry. You can let it make you sad, depressed. You can let it tear up your entire life. Or you can choose to step into it. You can choose to face it. You can choose to let God work from within you into that situation. After all, God is already surrounding that situation. He's in everything. You cannot separate yourself or the situation or the challenge from God. You can't do it. So challenge by choice. Now I'm going to go ahead and ask you guys to commit to this. When we're all together, and if you choose to, you can commit to it outside of here in your own life, but when we're all together, I would like to invite you to raise your hand and commit to living by the full value contract. Now before you do, let me remind you, it's keep yourself and others safe, fully value yourself and others, give your 100%, notice that's give your 100%, not mine, yours, and challenge by choice. If you agree to live by that, to commit to live by that while we're all together, raise your hands and hold them up. And then just look around. I want you to see everybody's got their hands up. It's very simple. It's a very loving, freeing tool to live by. And I truly believe that is a God-given rule. When I finally gave in yesterday and stopped thinking of it as just a tool I use in a program and realized that I could actually use it outside of life, like I ask people to, outside in my life, like I ask people to do every program that I put together. And when I started realizing that it really is a God-surrounded, God-infused tool, I'm like, I really can talk about that tomorrow. Let's pay attention. So it's a wonderful tool. It empowers you. It empowers the people that you're dealing with. It's all about love. So for a moment, I want you to just close your eyes. I want you to think about ways that you can do this and bring this into your life. Ways that you can use this. And then I want you to focus on how it's going to feel when you can approach situations and people with this mindset. And when you have an idea of what you want to do with that, you can come back and open your eyes and join us here again. That's the full value contract. It is very empowering, and it works incredibly well. 4 little steps. So this week, enjoy the full value contract, and thank you.